Hey guys, this is Mohit and welcome back to my channel. I have decided that I'm going to be inviting my friends and family members on this show to discuss about their personal lives, their goals, their relationships, etc. So hopefully you like the idea and stay tuned. So first up we have my school friend Jay Sopariwala, who is directly going to be connecting from Lithuania, Europe. So let's get started. Hey
Start.
guys, this is Mohit and welcome back to my show. So today I have a very special friend of mine who is live with me from Lithuania, Europe. Hey Jay, how are you doing?
I'm all right. You?
Okay, I'm also doing very good. So first and the foremost thing, I must welcome you to the show. And Jay
Thank
is a
you.
school friend of mine, and we have had like what 7 years of friendship now. And he is an
Yeah.
engineer now, pretty much similar to me. And
Mm-hmm.
now he's doing a job, I think.
No.
Okay. Yeah, but the first thing I should ask you is, Jay, why did you choose Lithuania? I mean, it's a European country, we all know that, but we haven't heard about
I didn't really want to go to some country that was very much populated. I wanted to pay much more attention to the type of university I go in, and this city was giving me that, as well as I wasn't doing mechanical engineering or electrical engineering or IT. I was doing something like marine engineering. So for me, it was much more beneficial if I go to a port city, which Klaipeda is. So that's why I chose this city and this university.
it. Okay. Yeah, seems to be a nice choice, but let me ask you, how is, I mean, how is stuff there right now? I mean, you have what is the lockdown situation there due to the pandemic?
Well, we do not have a lockdown. We have a quarantine, which is just stay at home if possible, and if you're not an essential worker, try and avoid going outside. So basically, I can go out anytime I want, but I have to maintain certain amount of social distancing, which is like
Yeah.
6 feet, and that's very easy, but considering the low population in comparison, obviously. But in reality, also the population is pretty low, so it's not very difficult to observe social distancing.
Okay. So I think I must ask you this question. I mean, you have this like 4 years of engineering that you have done in Lithuania. So
Mhm.
what do you plan for the future? What are you gonna do?
For me, my basic future plan is if I find a job in this country, then I'll do the work here. But if I don't, then I'll most probably start doing masters. I like the city, so I want to stay here, to be honest. But if it doesn't happen, then I'll go and do my masters.
Okay, but sounds like a plan. But I know like we are all middle class people, so it also comes with a hefty amount of money, right? So that is also you got to keep that in mind, right?
When you study in India, if you are studying outside your city, then there is a hefty cost you pay. If you consider your university fees and your living cost and your traveling cost, because if you are staying there, then the amount of times you will travel back home is much more higher. Like you were traveling every single month or every 2 months you would travel back home, and that also affects. Like in general, the entire
Yeah,
cost
you look at
wasn't
it
that
like
different. It was just 20-30% more.
yeah, I get that, but like you have like 4 years of engineering, like pretty much similar to me. Okay, but uh, yeah, I know that I am like in India and you did it from a foreign country. But I must ask you this: that have you even had an ounce of doubt in your mind about doing something else? 4 years ago, or are you pretty
Well,
satisfied?
4 years ago, I was much more inclined for aeronautical engineering, as you might have known. But I got into this university first and I started my procedures already. And then a week later, I had to start the procedures for that university. And therefore, I ended up over here. So initially, there were a few regrets. Then when I completed my education over here, I my biggest regret was not learning or not educating myself in a foreign language much more common because initially I was running away from the population, but right now I feel like if I would have gone to a much more populated place, then the job opportunities would have been higher. And it's like a battle you have to fight with your own self, or it's a balance you have to maintain. Like, because with people comes more job opportunities, and because I wanted less people, I have less job opportunities in this city.
Yeah, so
But I don't regret
we
it a
all,
lot.
yeah. The thing is, like, most of us pretty much decide our careers based on like how much they will like if they can provide us jobs, or if they can provide us with a nice amount of money, right? I mean, most of us do it. So we also did that, right? But I think,
I don't think so.
okay,
I don't
what,
think so because we just assume that we are taking that under consideration, but it's just most of the things that influence our judgment is the social norm that we have. Half of the youth that goes into university doesn't know what kind of a field they are entering in, what future they are going to have, or if they would even be invested or interested in that particular future after 5 years or 10 years of period. Because if you see in India, most of the people that have studied in certain fields have
yeah,
not had an actual career in that field. They would have
yeah.
pivot
So
from
they
that
will
career. Obviously,
see,
the unemployment has a role to play in it, but more than that, I would say that people just pivot towards the things that they have some admiration towards, or they feel like this is their hobby or this is what they enjoy. So they move towards that. Or in certain cases, which is much more common to us, they move towards inherited businesses because Gujarat is a business
yeah,
oriented state.
Gujarat as well as the whole India. We see it all the time, like
Yeah, I wouldn't
these are
generalize the
inherent
whole of India
processes.
because I haven't traveled a lot and I don't know a lot about everything in India, but Gujarat, yes.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much that case. Yeah, we know that. But see, we are like in a this stage of our lives and our careers where we sometimes think about existentialism, and sometimes think that what we really want to do with our lives, right? So, what do you think? Like,
Hmm.
what is your ultimate goal of life, if you want to like just to put it into in a few words?
Mm, Ultimately, I think you know this that I want to write a book before I'm 40, or if I
Yeah,
haven't done it by then the next timeline will be by 45. So if I don't have a published book out by 40, then I'll most probably will leave all the things behind and start working on the book from 40 to 45. And I'm pretty sure I would be damn frustrated by 40 to be good enough to write a book.
but I think that is where the beauty lies in it, right? I mean, we have this one thing that we are doing and we are earning money from that, and we have this other thing which is like a pretty much of a hobby or a passion kind of thing, and we're like
Mhm.
sometimes torn between both of those things as to what should be given more importance in our lives, and that is where the like where the dilemma lies. So, what do you think about it?
Well, if you work on your passion, or
Yeah.
if you start working really hard on your hobby, then it will give you money. It will give you money as well as a name for it because you are working on something you like. But if you're working in a field that you don't like, but it is providing you money, and if you think that money is something you're looking for, then give it all your time, and maybe you will have certain amount of admiration for that field after a while because um, not in a negative way, but you will get much more used to it, and therefore you will consider that much more normal for you. Not suggesting it for anyone and everyone, but if you are someone who is not able to afford or not able to be open enough to go and follow your dreams, then this is not a bad thing to do. Because if everybody wanted to be an artist and nobody wanted to study physics, then how will we like move forward with technology and how will we move forward as a society?
I think there is one bigger thing in this, like that. See, most of us, I mean, I don't really know most of us, but at least a few of them, I think, looking after that work-life kind of balance, right? And because of that, they really are only concerned with their jobs and not more concerned with what they're actually learning, right? And so, I mean, this is a very big problem in India too, that we don't have that work-life balance. Plus, even if we would have had that kind of thing in India, still people would have been like, no, we don't want to be indulging into something. We just want to do our jobs and return to our homes. It gives us money. That's it. That's what I'm concerned for. Right.
Well, there is a reason there are so many HR jokes. Like HR, what are they doing? They are just making events during festives. But the main job of HR is to make sure that you are satisfied in your
Yeah.
work. And
Yeah.
if you are not satisfied with your work, then they are supposed to inspire you with some other artistic things, artistic events, so that your artistic side or your much more um, what is the word I'm looking for? You're much more
That's okay.
artistic side.
Yeah.
Artistic side.
Yeah.
Your much more artistic side is also like has been given all that it needs, and therefore you are able to show what you have artistically and then go back to working on your desk.
Yeah. So let's shift our topic a bit. Let's talk about our school life, right? I mean, we should have a chit chat about it, right? It was just a phenomenal part of our life, even if
Definitely
I
bitching
talk about
about people,
yes,
yes.
yeah.
I love that.
Picking out people would be like the first thing that we'll be doing if we are talking about school life. But let's not start with it. I must start with like a
Hmm.
very tender thing. No, okay, yeah, we can start with the bitching part of things. Who, according to you, I must ask you this question for the audience. Who, according to you, was the worst teacher of all? I mean, this is going to create controversy,
Oh,
but I really know the answer.
uh,
Yeah.
no names, no names, but there
Okay.
is a reason why I took Hindi in 10th grade.
Wow, this is a nice way to answer this. I mean, most of our school and the schoolmates would have known this. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like
Uh,
there is a reason I took Hindi. Like,
yeah.
seriously.
We should talk about her, right? I mean, she was the main boss.
Who?
Shakuntala madam.
Okay, Mrs. Vashisht.
Yeah, we should only call her Vashisht Mrs.
Yeah. So,
I
with
mean, what
math,
was
I
Best
I think over time I have had like Stockholm syndrome kind of a feeling with her right now.
Stockholm syndrome. Okay.
Because when we were in the school, we were so frustrated with her way
Yeah.
of working, you know? It wasn't the best, like,
Pretty efficient. Yeah.
uh,
And
but now that I'm out, it's like maybe I'm forgetting all the bad things that happened with her, and now I remember
yeah.
only the fond memories, you know? The human
Yeah.
mechanism of coping with your bad memories is pushing forward the good ones, I guess.
Yeah, I get that. We all do that all the time.
But I have connected with her on Facebook, and she has like, we have exchanged messages and had a small conversation, and she has like given me some guidance, as well as she was very like, she really was happy for me, genuinely happy that I was having a career of my own outside of India, as well as she also told me about how she is teaching in a school right now. Like, I don't remember the place where she is, but
But that is the
yeah,
essence of it, right? And we had teachers like Shakuntala madam and even Ganju ma'am, to say the least. Even other few ma'ams I would have forgotten the name of right now. But we had those kind of madams who would be like at the end of the day, like, yeah, giving you a lot of good
life coaches.
thoughts.
They were life coaches. They
Definitely,
were
yeah. I was not remembering that word. I should say, yeah, they were life coaches. I mean, especially
life
Ganju. I mean,
coaches, and
talk about her. Yeah.
if you are looking for a parental figure outside of your parents, then they were some of the few people that came to our mind, as well
Yeah.
as whenever we wanted any kind of when it was literally my education related judgment call. My parents were not really educated for in the fields that I was studying in, and therefore, like, if I would have gone for commerce and business related, then my father would have known people that would have been able to guide me. But with my science education, there were not many people that we could have guidance of, and therefore the school teachers were the best place I got some guidance from.
Yeah, pretty much like that. But yeah, we had that kind. I mean, you had that kind of regret that when you left the school in 12th standard. I mean, your 12th grade, you had
Definitely.
lost quite a few things, right? I mean, we are not talking about it here, but it's like just reminding the people you
Yeah.
missed a lot of things, right?
But a funny thing would be that half of the people that know me wouldn't even remember it, because I
Yeah,
wasn't someone who was constantly on their minds, but I was someone who would drop in every once in a
I
while,
think you were
right?
always, almost always the last bencher, and pretty much you
Yeah.
hadn't made an impact on even any teacher's mind. I mean, some of the teachers would be remembering you, but I think most of them were like, yeah, he's just another guy.
I was a wallflower, according to lots of people,
Yeah,
but I was a very gorgeous wallflower. So if you would have taken time to admire me, then I would have been much more. Like, I remember Akash sir told my parents something, and I was like, nope, that's not true. But in a way, right now, when I think about it, he was genuinely like, yeah, this would help this person come out of his shell more. But hey, life gave me some lessons, and I did come out of my shell, as you can see here.
yeah. Okay, so okay, yeah. This is a very like a personal question, but I should be asking you about it. Like,
Go
who
ahead.
is your favorite among your mom and dad? Do you have a favorite, or you love both of them like equally?
Depends what is the topic.
Wow, I didn't expect that kind of an answer. So yeah, just brief me regarding that.
Um, it's like, depends on the conversation. Like, if I want to ask money, I know my father is the one who earns the money and he is the one who gives me money. But I'll ask my mom because I know she can get money out of my dad's pocket, you know? Like
Wow.
my mom will tell my father to send money in my account. But if I want to talk about how I'm just annoyed of everything over here and how I don't want to like I'm very frustrated and stuff,
Yeah.
then I will talk about it with my father because I don't want to like my mom already has lots of health issues going on with her, so I wouldn't want to pressure her. So that's why I would have that conversation with my father. Then, as you know, I was volunteering at different places with Erasmus.
Yeah.
So usually I would have that conversation with my father because my father was much more like, yeah, you should go around and help out people as well as you will be able to see new countries and experiences. Whereas my mother would be just concerned about my safety and my eating habits and my
Yeah, all
like
mothers are like pretty similar
she
in
would
that
be
kind of
so
thing.
over the top concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like depends on what conversation you want to have. You have to have priorities, you know? Like when you were younger,
Hmm.
you your parents will be like, ask your mom, ask your dad, right? Like if you go to your mom, she will be like, ask your dad. And with if you go to your dad, he'll be like, ask your mom. So now, after going through that for 19, 20 years, we know who to go to when we need anything.
Yeah. And now I will like we have this kind of understanding that yeah, we can go only for a specific things to our mom and for other specific things to our dad, right?
Yeah, not generalizing it because it's like every parent differs in those
Yeah.
topics, but for my parents, I know.
Okay. So one more thing I should ask you is, would you choose staying away from home, earning more for your family, or staying closer to a family and maybe earning a bit less?
Ooh. Again, uh,
It's a tough question, but I think
depends on how less is the value and how close am I to my parents. Because after living here for almost 4.5, 5 years outside of home, I think I wouldn't want to stay in the same house as my parents because Indian parents are very intrusive. They would be very much all over your business, and that's a little too much for me. So maybe I would work somewhere else in India and have easy access to my parents
yeah,
without
definitely.
having
Let's
to
go
go through like
one way to
international
India.
flights. That would be good.
Yeah.
But then again, if my salary is almost like 50% less in India compared to outside, then I wouldn't do it. Like, hell no. Like, flying from like one place of India to other place of India or traveling via train. Like, let's be honest, most of us travel via train. So it takes my brother overnight to come from Pune to
Pune to
Surat.
yeah.
And for me, instead of 12 hours, it will take me 24 hours. So for me, it's
Yeah.
like there are hardly any businesses of emergency where you would have to fly home like this, and you do not want those emergencies in your life, obviously.
Yeah. You don't want them.
So I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, you do have a specific answer to it at least right now because yeah, we are like torn between
Yeah,
wanting to earn money, wanting to stay with our family, right?
and also I have to. I cannot particularly justice answer this question right because I haven't been home in 3.5 years.
Yeah.
I still have my masters to worry about. I still have to find work. So this is the question which gives me anxiety. Like this is my anxiety related question region,
Okay.
you know? So I
Sorry
don't know.
for doing that.
Nah, you're my best friend.
Okay. 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 So I'll be like there is one more thing that 3.5 years since you have been home. I mean, I was also in a kind of a situation like for 4 years. I was just doing to and fro, up and down from Anand to Surat all the time. Yeah, it's completely different than what you experienced there, and it's like 3.5 years. But let's just remind for our audience I mean, how difficult it is staying away from home and what things you about your home. What most do you miss about your home?
Initially, I think the first year, the most common thing you would miss is someone doing your laundry or someone, because like that's one of the basic things. Like doing
Yeah,
laundry is my nightmare. So that one.
yeah. I used to enjoy that. I
Then
used to enjoy cooking when I was there.
then cooking is an entirely different experience outside of your
Yeah,
house. It's an entirely different experience because you cook things which you have never cooked before. Like I eat so much broccoli over here, and I have never eaten broccoli in India, like outside of restaurants and stuff.
I mean,
Yeah,
broccoli is one of my favorite things. I think.
yeah, I love it. Then it's like pasta. The amount of my consumption of pasta has definitely gone by like off the roofs. Like if I go back to India,
Okay,
the
okay.
number of times
We
I will
forgot.
consume pasta is.
Yeah, we forgot the main question. I mean, yeah. So I think you are enjoying the food the most. I think, or
I miss the food the most actually. I miss the
yeah.
food the most, and therefore I am being very broad with my idea of food over here
Okay.
because that's the thing I miss the most, and therefore I'm looking for it the most.
Okay, yeah, yeah, we all have this kind of thing. We are like Surtis and all foodies, yeah.
Yeah, the
Pretty
Surti
much
food gene
synonymous, right?
is really dominating.
Yeah, yeah. I
Not being
thought
able to
maybe,
eat like the silver chicken and the khausa and khaman and like the like within a week we would be eating such variety of food that I don't have that variety over here.
yeah. But let's remind our audience of how wonderful cook you are. Like, I mean, you post Instagram almost every day, stuff that you
Not
make
almost every day,
almost every
but
day. Yeah, I didn't say every day.
I don't know. I like cooking and I like to make people jealous of my
Yeah.
consumption of food because
That's
like
the reason you're posting.
but that is the thing like that it's so weird, but my brother sent me photo of him eating dark fantasy. He just sent me a photo of him eating dark fantasy and I was jealous. I was so jealous because I don't have that over here. So within one moment, the entire happiness in my of my consumption of food gets destroyed. It's it's very weird because most of the people don't know the taste of the things I'm eating. So
Yeah,
they do not have a reference. It's just a fantasy. But for me, whenever someone uploads a picture of them eating anda bhurji or pav bhaji or something even simpler like I miss my mama's house.
don't you miss sweets like gulab jamun and rasgulla
No, I
all of
don't
those
have
things?
access to that. I don't have
Yeah, that
access
is
to
what
that
I'm
because
trying to
there
tell
is
you.
no
Like,
Indian store.
you miss those things.
But I don't miss those. The thing I miss is most probably my mom's and my auntie's cooking, I would say.
Ah,
Like,
yeah, that's right.
like just the
Like,
other day, I was talking with my mom how I wanted to eat zira rice and dal that is made at home. Like jeera rice and dal from outside is good, but the one which my mom makes at home is really good. Then dhansak. Dhansak dal is so good. And like my mom used to make that at home, and now I don't have access to that. Then Sali Ghosh. I can never make that over here, but Sali Ghosh is like,
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
so I miss those.
Yeah, so I think that's a wrap up of this entire interview kind of thing with you. It was nice having you on this show, and hopefully we'll meet soon whenever this pandemic situation goes, and then after you can come here, we can like catch up.
Okay, bye.
Bye.